All right, Abusia, Mamina Makwa Basunkosu, Eba, Ghana Politics Avenue, GH Politics Avenue. Na, and then the Kaya Abusamba channel you saw or Daruma, and you know book on so best subscribe to channel. Now, for those sub notification bells, I have open all the trending podcast stories in Ghana. On Sabi to me, I can stories and can sue and cager, and car from Anna, your bedroom, your tea for any year before. Na the story edi bremu ade emusonko eye asamaba asembe na aba see the bigger kind of way first ya now I subscribe now about notification but on say be video any video for bi the babetum bia no only first person on sabi to make an intem. Fast forward, let's move to our story for today. And the story edi bedum eye asamaba namka asamaba oko parliamenta domkuma ana asamaba eye nchi bia na deputy finance minister na Ewura Thomas Ampim edi audit report be betu jan or the audit report be betu jan ena dom kuma ena omu dream training on about Lyǐnđ kwa na Afenyo market. You used to say na audit report deputy finance minister be kind of parliament yan farmer omu na omu nim de course na deputy finance minister na abo ensem bi chekuru egu pipa so na obe kan cho omu say audit report na ye na government spokesperson honorable Felix Fusukwachi edi abetu dwa say ensema minority for ne kan yurudu rather say nukuri bi eni na audit report no omedama omu dream ten ye Lyǐnđ kwa na Afenyo market no nabo enti se omu pa omu musa omu leader na omu kasa omu nim report omu nim de ekoso de a na nukure na deputy finance minister ontimi be kan reporting na because reporting is almost 100 pages enti so no deputy finance minister na bone tofa na odi down parliament as custom and tradition demands. Inti nyesa omo amfa ma omo na omo copy na yebo apaye eni nipa bonisem ene ye minority for no enu nti na omo si say na nso beka se ye mfa ma omo ani ye kasa nse mo enko nguti honorable Felix Fusukwachi oye aban kasama for outside MP for ebura asebi kwa man kese ye ba de obi ado ma Ghana politics aben mo nguti Malaysia.
First of all, the audit report itself was not what was presented. And this was an extract from it, and that when you were extracting from the report, you were careful to select only areas that advance your case, that this is fraudulent and this is plunder, targeting your political opponents. Is this just all part of a conspiracy to score political points?
Well, I had my bites on the statement in Parliament, and I assailed the MPP's pension to side with the criminals who want to loot and fleece the public purse. That when a minister has come to Parliament to apprise us of developments that threaten the very foundation of our financial management, you have people in the opposition who are lending support to this criminality and purporting to defend what they should not be defending. Again, it is false that the minister did not present the audit reports. Indeed, the audit reports are in 2 volumes, volume 1, volume 2. He formally, officially laid that audit report in Parliament. It was on that basis that the Speaker referred it to the committee to look into. The Speaker did not refer the statement to the committee to look into. Again, how does anybody expect the Finance Minister to be able to read hundreds of pages of an audit report in Parliament? The only way you could present it was to give excerpts, highlights of the reports. So I fail to see the locus of the MPP in this one. Why are they defending the criminals? Why are they siding with criminals against the people of Ghana?
The point I make, how do you trust that what you have
First of all,
put together
the minority leader
represents?
In fact, the minority leader doing his contribution in Parliament today quoted copiously from the audit report. So if they didn't have it, how was he quoting from it? He was given copies of it. The majority leader had copies. Parliament itself was served with a copy. And that is what will be referred to the Public Accounts Committee to look into. So if I have given you copies of the audit report, the original copies, why would I come and say something that is not in that report? Again, this claim that we should have stated the responses.
Why didn't you?
The Auditor General will not flag any transaction if he is convinced that appropriate explanations have been given. So it is not the place of a minister to come and defend persons who are accused of wrongdoing.
But if you were to be fair, you would at least tell us what the responses were.
The reason why the Finance Minister commissioned the audit in the first place was to know whether to accept or reject the claims that were being made. If he is presented evidence by no less an entity than the Auditor General's Department, we should trust the word of an MPP MP who is supporting the criminality, the naked rape, the plunder, the brazen theft of public resources over the Auditor General, who has actually looked into the facts, reviewed documentation, and spoken to the people concerned. What work has the MPP done to be able to say that what has been said is not true? Where is the evidence? Who did they speak to? Where is the documentation that supports it? What audit? When did the MPP become an auditing firm? Who amongst them has audited these transactions to come to a conclusion that what the finance minister was saying was not true? But for the records, it is a blatant falsehood that the audit report was not brought, it was brought to Parliament.
So you presented it?
Absolutely. And the minority leader, I will repeat, the minority leader had copies from which he quoted when he was contributing to the debate.
Now, the demand to, at least in this particular statement, which is the subject of a public conversation now,
yes,
because we don't have the actual report, would have given us a balanced view.
No, what balanced view?
Also because even in the report that was presented, there's an admission that 13.3 billion is, quote, amounts to be justified before payment. So
yes,
there's a grey area there yet to see be dealt with.
But the reason was given by the Auditor General for not accepting that 13 billion yet.
So which means that possibly
at the time
there may be cases to justify these.
Yes, so the Auditor General has not pronounced.
Legitimate.
No, the Auditor General has not pronounced on the 13. He has said that he has not accepted it because of the lack of documentation. Sometimes lack of a contract binding government to any payment. So that is clearly stated in the report. But he says he has rejected 8 billion because of the infractions that I have highlighted to you today. That is clearly stated in the report.
That's true.
Yes.
But the point I make is, I see the description of the 13.3 billion here as amounts to be justified.
Yes, they have not been justified.
Before payment.
And if they are not justified, they will not be paid.
It leaves room for the possibility that there's indeed justification for the 13.3 billion.
But there's no controversy over the 8 billion. The Auditor General says amount rejected, and he has explained. In fact, he has broken it down in the report. He says that in some instances, there are no supporting documents. In some instances, there are no contracts. In some instances, they are fictitious. In some instances, they've been paid already. You yourself have gone through the report this evening for the benefit of your viewers. In respect of the 13 billion, he says as of now, or as of the time he was finalizing his report, no justification had been provided for the payment. If justification is ever brought, it will be paid, just like the 45 billion has been paid. But I am questioning the minority as to why they are more interested in defending the looters as against protecting the interests of the public.
You also know that
and again, they speak about propaganda. They are the ones dabbling in propaganda. For instance, today, when right under their noses, the report had been laid in Parliament, they were saying that the report had not been laid. When their own minority leader was holding the report and quoting copiously from it to support his debate, they said the report had not been given them.
You know, the fact that an auditor had rejected a response does not mean that it will hold before a court of competent jurisdiction.
But of course, the fact that I have accused you of stealing this phone does not mean that...
Absolutely. So isn't that why in presenting the public narrative, at least give us the other side?
You see, the finance minister has an obligation
to pay. They are being fair to the people who will be indicted.
The finance minister has an obligation to pay any monies that government owes to contractors or suppliers. Before he does that, he must be convinced that indeed government owes the people. If he gets evidence that no such indebtedness exists, he won't pay. That is all that he has come to say. And indeed, he has proven through a thorough, diligent auditing process that up to 8 billion Ghana cedis should be rejected. In fact, the noise that the minority is making, the Oyo case, do you know how it came about? It was contained in an Auditor General's report.
True.
One of them simply said that the matter was contained in an Auditor General's report. The MPP composed songs over it and sang it across studios in Ghana. So when did they realize that there was something wrong with highlighting reports as presented by the Auditor General? When did they realize that? Why? As for Oyo, the blood not flow through him. They were able to compose songs, and for about a year and a half, every day Oyo was discussed in the Ghanaian media. The claim against him was contained in an audit report done by the Auditor General. It is not the first time that audit reports have become the subject of public commentary. And indeed, if anybody feels that they have been unfairly treated by the auditor, they have every recourse to take action to vindicate their rights. In any event, you also do know that the Auditor General also says that 35 companies benefited from Agenda 111 contracts, and they were paid mobilization amounting to $7.5 million, and yet did not set foot on the sites to construct any hospitals. And indeed, he has actually gone a step further to issue notices of surcharge, which he is empowered to do under Ghanaian law. So even before the report was presented, action had been commenced to ensure that the state retrieves whatever it is that has been lost.
So some individuals have already been surcharged?
Oh yeah, they've been served notices. So, and there's a process...
Only related to the Agenda 1.1?
Yes, those who are held for failure to execute their part of the bargain.
Although they were paid. I believe some 7 million.
Exactly, and indeed, it's not the first time. You recall that the roads minister also revealed that a road contract was awarded to a contractor somewhere in Wale up to about $300 million or so, and 10% mobilization amounting to $30 million was paid. Not 1% of work has been done. So it is a phenomenon that occurred under the New Patriotic Party. So and rather than joining forces with us to stem the tide, they rather seek to defend this criminality.
Yeah, but due process. I mean, the fact that the minister had come to articulate something doesn't mean that it...
No, but Evans, the records show, and it has not been contested, the records show that the monies have been paid. When the monies are paid, it means that the contractor is enabled to go to site and begin work. So when you go there, you will see that work has not been ongoing since we came to power. And yet the records show that the contractor...
Beyond the surcharge, though.
Yeah.
What else is the government willing to do?
Indeed. So those who were within the approval chain, because this must go to some officials in both agencies. I mean, the agencies that made the claim and then the finance ministry. To the extent that those individuals have worked on it and have presented it as a charge on the public purse, they will immediately face sanction. In fact, even before the finance minister came to Parliament to brief the House, he had referred the matter to the Attorney General, who is looking into it. Indeed, the National Service case, I told you that 21 additional persons are going to be hauled before court. And it came out of the work of the Auditor General. So the Auditor General's report and work is a source material for the Attorney General to act, irrespective of what Parliament does with the report. And so action is being taken to ensure that those who are responsible for this are held liable.
Because there's a school of thought that says that every Auditor General's report is first the preserve of Parliament, and specifically the Public Accounts Committee.
Not necessarily.
And it is only after the Public Accounts Committee had sat that then
not necessarily.
The Attorney General can...
As I speak to you, the Attorney General is in court on national service because he has picked up information from the Auditor General's report that some crime has gone on. So he can investigate it on his own. It does not preclude Parliament from sitting on it, reviewing it, and taking any action that they may deem necessary. If they go into it and they find that other state agencies have already begun actions in respect of the findings, they will not take any further action. But if they find that there are gaps in addressing the concerns raised in the audit, they will proceed to take action. So there's nothing that precludes the Attorney General or any authority charged with prosecutorial powers from looking into the contents of an Auditor General's report.
Today, after the statement was read, it was referred to the Public Accounts Committee.
That is true.
The Public Accounts Committee is chaired by the former Deputy Finance Minister.
Yes.
And as we've just seen, a lot of the infractions borders on the conduct of the Finance Ministry. Do you see any concerns there about...
Well, of course, I think the majority that raised it, that there's a clear case of conflict of interest. Of course, that is not to say that she bears any personal responsibility for what has happened. But if the tenor during which these things happened coincided with her work, her stints at the finance ministry, then it will not be tenable for her to preside over it because there will be a clear case of conflict of interest. So I'm sure that the Public Accounts Committee, in its own wisdom, will find ways of addressing that conflict of interest situation. I expect that she will recuse herself.
You expect her to recuse herself?
That would be the only tenable proposal, because I don't see how it is entirely different if she was looking into a case relating to another sector. But this one involves a place where she worked. So it will not be in her own interest to preside over this particular
She chooses not to?
No, I think that Parliament can compel her not to.
Will the majority side make a case for this to happen?
I suspect so, because the majority that made a strong case today. It's a matter of bringing a motion to the House for the House to decide, yes. But I think that it is in her own interest not to preside over this. Because it will raise many questions.
Many years of the Auditor General's report has taught us that a lot of what he had found today, or put out today, isn't entirely new. In fact, irregularities, fictitious.
That is true.
What is it, beyond what has been discovered regarding the previous administration's conduct, how is your government working to make sure that this is not repeated under your own watch?
Indeed, the Deputy Finance Minister broached that subject today when he said that the road stops here. The fact that this has been happening for ages does not mean that we should permit it.
Specifically, what does that mean?
It simply means that additional checks,
such as,
will be put in place. And I told you that even right from the point of award of contracts, significant scrutiny will be carried out. The Finance Minister has spoken about the establishment of a value for money office, which will further strengthen the scrutiny that is carried out to ensure that even the amounts that are being quoted are justifiable in light of the work that is supposed to be done. And then the execution of the project itself, the raising of IPCs, interim payment certificates, the processing of it, and checking against work that has been done, and all the boxes that need to be ticked will be strengthened as a way of proofing us against this sort of wanton abuse of the public purse. So you can expect that going forward, a more tighter regime will be put in place to ensure that this does not happen again. But of course, it starts with punishing those who have done this to serve as a deterrent to anybody who will be thinking of doing something similar. And that is currently ongoing.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, and the Attorney General is going to be looking into this.
Sure.
There's no guarantee that any of that leads to any punishment per se.
Of course.
There are charges there which the Attorney General reserves the right to do.
Sure.
But if you're moving to the arena of criminality, of course, the burden of proof is higher, beyond the Attorney General's work that has happened. So it doesn't necessarily lead to punishment that then becomes a...
Evans, you do know that there's not only when you've stolen money that you can be held for monies that are lost to the state. You recall the famous Quality Green case.
Yeah.
The judge, in the very opening pages of his ruling, made it clear that the individuals who are standing trial are not accused of stealing money or having personally benefited from any of the transaction. But because there were things they should have done that they did not do, which has led to the loss, they were being held liable. So if you were supposed to have done something and you did not do it, or you neglected to do so and it has led to a loss or an attempted effort to defraud the state will hold you. But of course, it means that you have to identify those who were responsible for this. And it should not be difficult to do that because the Finance Ministry and the ministries or agencies involved are established organizations, and it should not be too difficult to find who was there and who did what. That will be done. Did we ever say during the campaign that we were going to use extrajudicial means? Did we ever say so?
It was always going to be through the judicial.
Absolutely. So when you say that...
Always going to be.
When you say that...
It is a reason why...
Yes.
Within the party, there's frustration.
No.
Because they know definitely that has to go to court.
But they've
been told to expect that this will almost happen as a matter of fact. As a matter of automaticity.
How so?
But obviously it's not the case.
I don't think that is fair.
Isn't that why there is...
It is neither fair... You see, people have expressed frustration. People have expressed frustration about the pace of cases in courts in Ghana. It's a long-standing criticism against the judicial system. It is not a recent development or phenomenon. It's a long-standing criticism that the judiciary of Ghana has faced. Even we who are in leadership have had to criticize them in that regard. But that is not something that you lay at the doorstep of government. What should government have done that it has not done? It has not done, I beg your pardon. So Adimamenu is all over the place engaging in bluster, claiming that he is working a free man. I have just shown you that he is not a free man by any means. You understand me? So whatever has to be done to hold him to account is being done. Whatever has to be done to hold the National Service folks to account is being done. They have been taken to court. And they've been in court for quite some time. Edubuahin was the first person to be taken to court. I have told you that, but save 2 witnesses. The case is almost, the state has almost made this case. In Wuntumi's case, the state has finished making its case. The court will determine when Wuntumi comes to either open his defense or make a submission of no case, which is standard. It is a regular development in criminal cases.
Was oral oversold?
Oral was not oversold. No, how was oral oversold? Again, we need, I insist that we need to go back to exactly what exactly was said under oral that has not been done. When we said we were going to engage in oral, what did we say we would do that we have not done? Have we not arrested people? I have told you the numbers, 140. Under which regime have you had this number of people being interrogated by security agencies? 140. I have told you that. Indeed, I can read out the names to you if you are interested. You understand the point I'm making? I also listed to you the cases and showed you where everyone is. Of course, you cannot take all the cases to court at the same time. It doesn't happen under any jurisdiction. In fact, under the MPP, The first time that they secured any conviction was 3 years after they came into power. 3 years after they came into power. It is most likely that we will get convictions faster than happened under the MPP. Because of the pace at which it has moved. For instance, if the Attorney General has finished making his case in the wound to me matter, it is much quicker than was previously the case. Of course, people have expressed disquiet about how interlocutory injunctions are used to frustrate the processes. But that is beyond the reach of government. If a discussion has to be had about how to free up the court system and make it faster, why not? Let's have that discussion. And I've indicated to you what government is doing to ensure that these cases do not get bogged down by the sheer numbers. So one of the ways is to use the tribunal system, which has not been used since 1990, at least since our return to constitutional rule. We are bringing it back as a way of speeding up these processes. Even that has to go through a certain legislative process to get it approved, and then we roll them out. So much is being done. Whereas we acknowledge people's expectation that things ought to be done quicker, there's a lot of urgency that is being applied. Also, it is imperative that those who are handling these cases do a thorough job. You see, the NDC, President Mahama or his government are not simply interested in throwing people into jail for the sake of it. So, if allegations are made against you, we have to be certain that those allegations can stand scrutiny in court before you go. That is what every Attorney General with a sword will do. Unlike you and I, who can engage in speculation and say things and get away, he cannot go to court and get away with half-baked cases. He has to do a thorough job, and that's precisely what is happening.
On some of the specifics that you disclosed tonight, particularly, I'm interested in Ajimamenu.
Yes.
Do you have any clarity when specifically when?
Indeed, in a matter of days, he will go to court.
Okay.
Yes.
Are we going to get a briefing first? If the Attorney General deems, but you're certain that a case will be sent.
It will go to. In fact, there are two. It is not just one case. Two different Sputnik and the what do you call it? COVID-19, the Frontiers case. Yes, the dockets are before the Attorney General as I speak.
Let's speak to the presentation before Parliament today by the Deputy Finance Minister on the 68+ billion cedis.
All right, a chief weather was some gibre. Now, would it see nobody say, said it, I Ghana Politics Avenue, Lyǐnǧ Politics Avenue. Open all the trending podcast stories in Ghana, Ayana, Onsa, Ebeka, Nen did the Kabach and you saw Daruma, and you do Bokwasu. The best was always subscribe to channel, no, Afi, what about notification bells, say, video any video of Rubia, Bay, the Abedum Mubian, on Sabit to me, Akabi. No, who the cost of Ghana, a man yourself, and ye Kevin Mammy Kebi, a Mamua, ye cost, ye Nasi Buno, Ghana. I have a video at bedroom when you want, and you do book as a restaurant, or like a video, no Shama, Afro, and Yabi. Beshama, Unia, or Downful, Dofful, there will be Biara, or Ben will be Abesha, now, so you know, the cost of Ghana, Manuel, and the state of the nation. The we are Emmanuel is it here. Now, the comment section one. Shall I dream in Cheremadi and Cherry? Now, all small way in our quest to better our politics and democracy. In our small way, yes, we are poor, then chat and to our way. Near more my democracy in any na America. A double number some other materials. I Ghana Politics 7, no poor training podcast producing Ghana. Ayana Saraka, Yakramina.